Hi folks, hope you're doing well this week. Since we're kind of wrapping up that last round of drafts and starting to get into making revisions, making changes, and getting things ready for your final issue analysis drafts, I did want to come and talk to y'all a little bit today about revision, editing, and proofreading, all of that, like after you have a paper stuff, right? So, as always, don't super worry about like sitting and taking notes on this little video lecture. I will put my notes, which is kind of like my script, in the description of this video, so don't worry about that. Alright, so since at this point you should have or be very near the word count for your issue analysis paper, a lot of what you'll be working on with this paper this week will involve revision, editing, and proofreading. So start with some definitions, right? Because they're similar but slightly different. Revision is like adding, removing, relocating, and changing information and ideas in order to improve the overall argument or analysis of a paper. These are big scale changes usually. Editing is kind of looking back on your writing on more of a paragraph, sentence, or word-specific level to make sure that your ideas and or your argument or your analysis are coming through clearly, so a little bit more focused. Proofreading is like very specific, quick, mostly quick changes to like grammar, punctuation, and formatting. So, the paper that you turn in for the final paper for the issue analysis, which is due next Monday at 11:59 p.m. on the 23rd, right before Thanksgiving. That paper, that final paper, should not be exactly the same as the draft you've turned in for draft 2 for this last round of peer reviews. And now that you've hopefully had some time between finishing that draft and working on these next steps, you should be able to come into it with fresh eyes. Generally, you're going to want to do that. You're going to want to allow at least a day or a night's sleep between the drafting and revision process. And, like, I understand that that's not always possible. I'm the queen of writing a paper the night it is due. But I do strongly recommend that, like, in the future when you're writing papers, try to take at least some kind of break before you look back at your own writing. Even if you're, like, pulling an all-nighter writing a paper, get up, go get a cup of water, get a snack, scroll through Facebook for a minute, take a break. The distance will allow you to see errors that your brain might otherwise overlook if you're just like staring at the paper for hours and hours, right? Your brain's gonna skip over stuff that would be sort of more obvious if you took some time away from it. So, for this paper, starting with your peer review feedback and, also on your own, you can begin the process of honing your paper. Usually you're going to want to make bigger revision type changes first, and then go back and do editing and proofreading stuff, because like as you move around big chunks of text, minor errors often come up, like typos and formatting weirdness and stuff. So, when revising, first consider your thesis statement. Is it making an analytical claim? And is it clear what that claim is? Do you specifically say it for your audience? As you read through your paper, ask yourself if the evidence you're presenting actually supports the claims you're making. Do things need to be moved around to strengthen your points? Do you have really strong points in your conclusion that need to be introduced earlier and integrated into the paper? A lot of times I totally write myself into a better thesis statement, like towards the end or the middle of my paper, and I have to go back and add it in later. That's totally normal and fine. And now you have the time to do that. So, after you've looked at your like larger scale revisions, you can get into the editing stage. At this point, it can be super helpful to have a friend or a classmate read over your paper to mark places where they get confused or where your ideas aren't coming through clearly. I also find that reading my paper aloud and hearing it out loud is super helpful. So either I will like sit and read my paper aloud, or you can get like software that will do that for you. Microsoft Word has a read aloud feature. You can also put text into Google Translate and it will read it aloud for you. Or if you've got a really good friend, get them to read it aloud for you. Like hearing it will help you like catch things that sound funny, catch words that need to be changed, and also if it doesn't make sense, like when you hear it, it will like jar something that like your eyes might gloss over when you're reading. This is super helpful. I really recommend the reading aloud thing. So when you're editing, questions that you can think of are like, does each body paragraph have a topic sentence, and is it the first sentence in the paragraph? So that's kind of like a mini thesis statement for your paragraph. What are you talking about? What is the point? How does it tie back to your main thesis statement? Have you provided analysis for the quotes and data that you've cited in each paragraph? So don't just like plop a quote in, integrate it into your sentence and then like have some analysis of the quote. Don't just end a paragraph on a quote. Quote analysis, data analysis. Does the order of the sentences in each paragraph make sense? And do you feel that like the word choice articulates what you're trying to say? Are there places where you could pick a better word? That kind of thing. It's also sort of editing, right? Proofreading is the final step. Once all of your big changes are made in revision and editing, you're gonna go through and do proofreading. This is usually pretty quick, and this is like gonna be your bare minimum. If you were like writing that all-nighter paper and you do not have time to make like big revisions, big edits, you still need to be proofreading. It can be done very quickly, right? At its most basic, proofreading can simply mean running a paper through spelling and grammar checking software, and making sure that the paper meets MLA formatting and citation guidelines. So, like looking through your paper, are there any squiggly lines under words or phrases? Fix those. Just click on them, right-click on them with Word, and let it fix it for you. Make sure your changes are right, but fix those. Are there any obviously like misplaced formatting things? Like did you copy paste a quote out of another source and now that format is all weird? Like fix that kind of stuff. Is the paper double spaced in Times New Roman 12-point font? Do you have a works cited page, and have you double checked the citations, especially if you're using a citation generator? Is your last name and page number in the header on the top right of every page? Have you saved the paper as a Word doc with your last name and the file name? These are like fairly quick little changes that can really help your paper look more polished, look more together, and that can kind of hide some like turning in a well-polished paper that is written at the last minute can kind of hide some of that other stuff. So, just for future reference. We're not writing last-minute papers, but I want y'all to be prepared for the whole college experience. So, I've deliberately, with this paper, scheduled y'all plenty of time between having draft 2 done with all 1,500 words, hopefully, which is like the minimum word count for the issue analysis. So even if you don't do like each step of revision, then editing, then proofreading individually, I do really encourage y'all to go back through your papers this week and do what you can to revise, edit, and proofread them. Try to make them the best papers that they can be, right? I'm not expecting perfection or anything. It's totally a cliche in the English department for a reason to say that there are never any perfect papers, only deadlines. So don't feel like this week, since you have the time between the draft and final paper, that you have to go through spending hours and hours tweaking everything and striving for perfection. I trust y'all to judge your time wisely and to make your issue and analysis papers the best that they can be with the time that you have. So, I do encourage you to go back and look through it. Double check using Purdue OWL's formatting and citation guidebook. Check all that kind of stuff. Use words, grammar check, spell check tools. A lot of these tools are like already available to you. Use the read aloud feature. just kind of giving you tools to like make this editing revision process a little bit easier. So, don't stress about it. Don't panic about trying to get a perfect paper, but like, you have the time. Try to turn in like a good paper, as good of a paper as you can get it, right? So, just your reminder, final papers are due at 11:59 p.m. on Monday, November 23rd, which is next Monday, the Monday before Thanksgiving. My regular office hours are canceled this week. I'm doing conferences with another class, but I'm setting aside Friday to make appointments with y'all for optional conferences regarding the issue analysis if you want to chat with me before those issue analysis papers are due. Friday is a good time to do that, so shoot me an email if you want to set that kind of chat up. I don't have a sign-up sheet or anything, and it's not mandatory, it's just I did want to, since I have to cancel my office hours this week, set aside a day to chat with any of y'all who might have questions. Also, if you just have any questions or concerns about the issue analysis or anything that's coming up, revision, proofreading, anything like that, just send me an email. Alright, take care, y'all. Have a good week. Talk soon. Bye.